Hello guys, how are you? Thank you very much for watching this video. I am Melky and I'm going to read Microsoft Service Agreement that is going to be applied in August. Actually, probably in 2 days, right? In which time zones are you? 2 days, 1 days, 3 days? Okay. Wait a minute. Does that make sense? 2 days was it? So in 2 days or 3 days, 2 days or 3 days probably. Okay, next, contracting entity for use of free and paid consumer Skype branded services. You are contracting with, and all references to Microsoft in these terms mean Skype communication SARL 20. So this is the address of Skype. The Microsoft for free and paid consumer Skype branded. Okay, Skype next. 11. So if you want to see the complete address, take a look at the Microsoft Service Agreement, obviously. Next, 11, choice of law and place to resolve disputes. Oh, one more thing, guys, I forgot. This is not a legal advice. I am not a legal professional, so please take it with a grain of salt. Consult your own professional consultant for decision making, or for believing in something, which in turn would translate into decision making, especially for high stakes stuff. Because I am not providing you a guarantee, a professional assurance, or a professional guarantee about what is said in this video. So be careful, guys. And I am just an enthusiast. I'm being like casual, and I'm so prone of mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes, and even in my previous videos, if you check it out in my channel, you would find that I always make like kind of unreliable, some kind of like currently I am not giving you assurance that you should use for your context, your important context, your life, and your health, maybe even health, or something that is as valuable as that, or even less, maybe that needs like some kind of, that has stakes, guys. So it's just casual stuff. This is a casual sharing video between amateurs to amateurs, and um, if I made a professional comment based on my job, that is not another, that is not even an assurance. Okay, let's go, guys. 11, choice of law and place of to resolve. I'm sorry, that's not a professional assurance. Sorry. Choice of law and place to resolve disputes. If you live in, or if a business, your principal place of business is in the United States, the laws of the states where you live, or if a business where your principal place of business is located, govern all claims regardless of conflict of laws principle. So in my case, I'm not in I'm in a different country, so my country's law is the one that applies regardless of conflict of laws principles. Except there's an exception here, that the Federal Arbitration Act governs all provisions relating to arbitration. Okay, there's going to be a section about arbitration, so that is indeed like some kind of international relationship stuff, so that is indeed special. You and we irrevocably consent to the exclusive jurisdiction and venue of the state or federal courts in King County, Washington, for all disputes arising out of or relating to these terms of or the services that are not heard in arbitration or small claims court. Okay, this is a little bit confusing. It says that my law applies, but now in Washington, let's take a deeper look on this stuff. Okay, regardless of conflict of laws principles. So if you live in the United States, the laws of the state you live for. Oh my, I didn't notice that. How could I just miss that? If you live in a business, your principal place of business in the United States, the laws of the state where you live or if a business where your principal place of business is located govern all claims. So the state. So this is for people who are living in the US. In my case, this one may not be, this one doesn't apply. Okay, next, warranties. Warranties. Microsoft and our affiliates, resellers, distributors, and vendors make no warranties, express or implied, guarantees, or conditions with respect to your use of the services. Okay, uh, wait a minute, guys. We are using Microsoft product with all of the usage that we use every day, including for our work and everything, but there are no warranties or guarantees. Wow, this is important, guys. You understand that use of the services is at your own risk, and that we provide the services on an as-is basis with all faults and as available. Okay, so it is very important to know that, guys. So if you are a business and you want a guarantee from Microsoft or warrant with a Microsoft, I believe there's this thing called Office Professional or Windows Professional version. Maybe there's a little bit of difference in the terms and conditions, or maybe there's an enterprise edition that you should make a specific contract with Microsoft, or what I mean is you personally contact Microsoft for those products in order to be able to acquire these things. But it doesn't mean it is always a bad idea to use these products for your business, obviously, like to the extent of the legal issue, because right, if you know that you are the one who's going to bear all the risk, I guess that would be it. And the problem would arise if you thought like Microsoft would do something about something while Microsoft would not do. So so you plan things wrong. So yeah, too many souls. Next, you bear the entire risk of using the services. Microsoft doesn't guarantee the accuracy or timeliness of the services to the extent permitted under your local law. We exclude any implied warranties, including for merchantability, satisfactory quality, fitness for a particular purpose, workmanlike effort, and non-infringement. You may have certain rights under your local law. Nothing in these terms is intended to affect those rights if they are applicable. Right. You acknowledge that computer and telecommunication systems are not fault-free and occasional periods of downtime occur. We do not guarantee the services will be uninterrupted, timely, secure, or error-free, or that content loss won't occur. Nor do we guarantee any connection to or transmission from the computer networks. Mm, right, and this limitation, what does it call, this warranty, like this disclaimer stuff, I believe what it's supposed to be is governed, is would fall under the laws in your own country, right? Microsoft would not trying to overrule those laws. Next, limitation of liability. If you have any basis for recovering damages, including breach of these terms, you agree that your exclusive remedy is to recover from Microsoft or any affiliates, resellers, distributors, third-party apps and services providers, and vendors direct damages up to an equal amount to your services fee for the month during which the loss or breach occurred, or up to $10 if the services are free. You can't recover any other damages or losses, including direct, consequential, lost profits, special, indirect, incidental, or punitive. These limitations and exclusions apply even if this remedy doesn't fully compensate you for any losses or fails or its essential purpose, or even knew or should have known about the possibility of the damages. To the maximum extent permitted by law, These limitations and exclusions apply to anything or any claims related to these terms, the services or the software related to the services. We always see this stuff, guys. We always see this stuff in every terms and conditions. This is like the most important part of the terms and conditions for all the content internet content providers. The problem is that people, like, if you walk around in a public space and there's some kind of obstacles and there are no warning and you injure yourself, you can sue the public maintainer, the one who is responsible for the safety of the vicinity. So this is a little bit like that, but it is a disclaimer, right? It is like they cannot, obviously within the internet, they cannot maintain everything, and they cannot anticipate for all kinds of damages possible that could happen. But also, some people would deem them like, oh, you could anticipate for this, you could anticipate for that. And it is said here specifically that even though it is foreseeable, it is also not warranted. So for, obviously, for different reasons and a different for different circumstances which we don't know, only Microsoft know, they would allocate or they would budget differently from other people. And such setup or such settings would render them too expensive to be able to cover for those stuff. Now this is where these legal documents is important, is so that we can know about this, and then when uh, when we are facing with options, we would consider this firsthand, so that as much as we could, we would avoid a risk that we could not afford. Obviously, some of the things might miss, but at least it is covered. It is something that is actually can be very, very good. Now in practice, I realized that people really just move on with their lives without paying attention to this, and nothing actually significant we know happen. Actually, yes, there are like legal suits and stuff, but for a lot of people, things like that doesn't happen in their life. But just so you guys know, in relation to things that have happened, these clauses were evolved from, right? From things that have happened in the past, these clauses were evolved from. That is my opinion. Okay, move on to the surface specific terms. The terms before and after section 14 apply generally to all surfaces. This section contains surface specific terms that are in addition to the general terms. These surface specific terms governs if there are any conflict with the general terms. Alright, so this would be in accordance to the surfaces that you use. I think we should I'm going to focus firstly on things that people a lot of people could relate. For example, Bing here and Microsoft Start, including MSN, Bing and Microsoft Start materials, the articles, text, photos, maps, videos, video players, and third-party material available on Bing and Microsoft Start, including through Microsoft bots, application and programs, are for your non-commercial personal use only. Other uses including downloading, copying, or redistributing these materials, or using these materials or products to build your own products, are permitted only to the extent specifically authorized by Microsoft or rights holders, or allowed by applicable copyright law. Microsoft or other rights holders reserve all rights to the material not expressly granted by Microsoft under the license terms, whether by implication, estoppel, or otherwise. So this kind of materials would be, for example, you created an application and you connected to a search engine, and it is embedded within the application, and you put it in a electronics store or internet store for people to be able to purchase it and use it. And somehow they use it, for example, for important purposes such as health purposes or security purposes, and somehow Bing is under maintenance, for example, and they suffered losses. Things like that could both negatively to Microsoft. And yeah, if such things happen, obviously the one who's going to be responsible is the one who created the application, because they would be violating these terms and conditions. Or you know what, that's not the sole purpose of these terms and condition, but I do, in my opinion, this paragraph right here covers that example. Probably there's going to be some more laws related to that, or probably this paragraph, or must be this character, this paragraph covers a lot of different instances and types of legal issues as well, obviously. But I hope you guys could get a some kind of, even though it is, I couldn't be specific, I cannot give you some kind of assurance or like that. I hope you guys could somehow understand thing or two that relates to your life, and you could make a better decision about it, knowing that Microsoft do this, that this service agreement is here. Next, Bing Maps. You may not use bird's eye imagery of the United States, Canada, Mexico, New Zealand, Australia, or Japan for governmental use without our separate written approval. Now, it is interesting that we just read before that Microsoft is not trying to mess with other people's law, other countries' law, that the law of the country applies. But things like that, things like this particular paragraph must be a thing that is a norm in international law or international relationship, where these countries, doesn't want certain activities from another country. And obviously, for international corporations such as Microsoft, they would have to pay attention to this stuff. This stuff would be relevant to them. Next, Bing Places. When you provide your data or your content to Bing Places, you grant Microsoft a worldwide royalty-free intellectual property license to use, reproduce, save, modify, aggregate, promote, transmit, display, or distribute as part of a service, and sub-license those rights to third parties. To use, reproduce, save, modify, aggregate, promote, transmit, display, or distribute as part of a service, and sub-license those rights to third parties. But it is not. It is very general. It's not specific. When you provide your data or your content to Bing Places, you grant Microsoft a worldwide royalty-free intellectual property license to use, distribute as part of a service, and sub-license those rights to third parties. I could understand if an artist, for example, created a picture and posted in the Microsoft forum, or making a comment in MSN news page, and such comment probably is going to be used for advertising purposes by Microsoft. Say, hey, take a look at these MSN sites, MSN news site. A lot of people commented like this and that and that, and they would, and you would have some kind of probably a story, or some kind of funny utterances. And I could kind of understand that if Microsoft could use that in that context. However, though, if what if when this is not for MSN, this is for Bing Places. For Bing Places. Okay, sorry guys, not MSN, but Bing Places. I wasn't really, yeah, that didn't connect. Okay, Bing Places, same thing. If you, when can you, what kind of I don't really understand what being places provides actually. So let's move on. But just so remember, when you encounter being places, just be careful that if you post something that you created, such terms apply. Next, personal non-commercial use. Cortana is Microsoft personal assistant service. Wait, this is Cortana. Okay. Being an MSN, OneDrive is very commonly used as well. Storage allocation. If you have more content stored in your OneDrive account than is provided to you under the terms of your free or paid subscription service for OneDrive, and you do not respond to notice from Microsoft to fix your account by removing excess content or moving to a new subscription plan with more storage, guess what? Guess what? I'm guessing here. I don't know. I'm going to guess. Microsoft is not going to store even more data, right? What is it now? The answer is we reserve the right to close and delete or disable access to your content on OneDrive. So, guys, I didn't like, I kind of worried about this, but what my assumption would be like Microsoft would not, it's just going to leave it like that, but they actually going to delete your account. This is important, guys. Delete your yes. If you have more content stored in your OneDrive account that then is provided to you, so OneDrive could store more than provided. Wow, it's good to know. It's good to know, isn't it? Next, service performance. Depending on factors such as your equipment, internet connection, and Microsoft efforts to maintain the performance and integrity of its service, you may occasionally experience delays in uploading or syncing content on OneDrive. Why is this here? Like, obviously, if my internet is slow, I'm going to experience delays. Internet connection and Microsoft efforts to maintain the performance and integrity of its service. You may, so their maintenance, for example, would fall under this. You may occasionally experience delays in uploading or syncing content on OneDrive. I see. Sometimes we are at work, we rely on OneDrive. This is a free version of OneDrive, obviously, not a professional, not an enterprise version. Supposedly, they would have a separate service agreement for that, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Probably this is it. But let's focus on a free OneDrive version first. So you would use it for your work, and you would rely on the fact that it would always work well. But there are probably going to be instances where Microsoft is performing maintenance and you cannot perform your daily tasks as smoothly as before if you rely on the services, right? And they wouldn't be, because they've already mentioned it here, it is at your risk. Okay, but I acknowledge beforehand that such things are quite rare. I do remember things like that happen. Have you ever remembered where a year where the whole internet was down, Google was down? There was such a moment, actually. There was such a moment in history where Google was down. So obviously now the crazy smart, like super genius people working at the Silicon Valley have already created some kind of mitigation and some kind of I don't know what it is, protocols or what, or maybe firewalls or a blockchain or a cloud that would better guarantee the performance and the data. Now I don't know what, I couldn't, right? But if it happened, they are still covered. They are not being like, oh, it is impossible. It is probably so. Yeah, should I move on? I think there's a point that I couldn't deliver, but I can't. I just can't say it. Next, Microsoft, we have Azure, Microsoft Rewards, Power Platform, Binding Arbitration, and Class Action. So this is not service related. So we're going to end at Power Platform. So we're going to start from the top again. Um, about the surface specific license, right? Surface specific terms. We're going to start from Xbox, but I think I should make a separate video about that. So thank you very much for now, and bye.